I'm here at the spring conference of the United Kingdom Independence Party, where it's unveiling its broadest election manifesto yet for the May the 6th general election here in the UK. Joining me is Nigel Farage, who's a leading light in the party and its former leader. Mr Farage, thanks very much for talking to RT today. Now, you're launching your manifesto at this meeting, and the theme is straight talking. How did you come up with that?
Well, nobody else is, are they? I mean, you know, we get lies and obfuscation, and when you listen to David Cameron speak, or Gordon Brown speak, or the other fella, Clegg, at the end of their speech, if you sat down and asked yourself, what did they actually say? What was the message they delivered? Well, I challenge you, it's very difficult to work out what it is. And there are lots of big issues that really affect Britain today, really affect people's lives, and what they're doing is they're sweeping them under the carpet. Oh, let's keep this out of sight. This is all much too awkward and difficult to discuss in front of the children. And what we're saying is that we are a straight-talking party. We want to talk about these issues. I mean, just for example, you know, we've had over the course of the last 10 years an increase in the population in our relatively small country of 3 million people. We're heading inexorably to a population of 70 million by 2020, but nobody wants to talk about it. It's all too awkward. Well, I can tell you, as somebody that travels around the UK by car and train, it's already a pretty overcrowded island, and they're the kind of things that UKIP is not frightened of talking about.
So you're still standing on a platform of halting mass immigration?
Absolutely. I mean, we happen to admire the Australians. If you want to go and live in Australia, you have to be somebody who is going to bring benefit to Australia, and they're very careful about the total numbers. And that's the kind of model that we'd like to see here. But of course, we can't do that all the while we're part of this political European Union, because what we've got is an open door to the whole of Eastern Europe, and not just the people that live in those Eastern European countries, but anybody that those Eastern European countries choose to allow to move into their territory. So, I mean, the thing is completely and hopelessly out of control. Most Britons know it, and they feel it, and they have a sense that something's going wrong, but if anybody's pressed, if the so-called big parties are pressed, they try not to have the debate. Well, we're going to make sure in this general election, with our 500 candidates, that we do have this debate.
You've just started a fairly widespread billboard campaign which involves posters along major roads in the UK saying that 5,000 new immigrants come and settle in this country every week. Does that constitute a move to the right for you?
No. I don't. I mean, you know, traditionally, talking about immigration was seen to be a right-wing issue. I think you'll find that the biggest concern in this country about immigration will come from Labour voters, because it's Labour voters that have seen, it's working-class people that have seen, since 2004, since we opened the door to the whole of Eastern Europe, we've seen a massive oversupply in the unskilled labour market. Gordon Brown talks about British jobs for British workers, but he can't actually deliver because of the open door policy. So I don't see the question of the EU and whether we govern ourselves. I don't see the question of whether we should head towards a population of 70 million. I don't see these things in conventional left or right-wing terms.
What you're trying to achieve with this is catching Labour voters who think that their party doesn't do enough to stop immigration, and also potential BNP voters who don't really want to go as far as voting for a nationalist party.
Well, look, you've just said it yourself, haven't you? That this is not a left or right-wing thing. The potential is to bring people in from right across the spectrum. There is a hardcore vote in this country that will go on voting BNP, but it's not very big. And it will do so on the basis of utter dislike and hatred of others on the grounds of religion, race, ethnicity, whatever it may be. There have been people in the last 5 or 10 years who've been tempted to vote BNP. They've probably sort of held their noses and done it because they wanted to stick 2 fingers up to the establishment. But when they see what UKIP's all about, they come to us. And in the European elections last year, there were hundreds of thousands of people that might have been tempted to vote for the BNP, but actually came and voted for UKIP. And I think that what we're doing as a party is we're taking this argument away from the extremists and getting it back into the centre ground of public opinion. And in many ways, it's perhaps our finest achievement over the course of the last year.
And do you want to be a party that bases yourself on these immigration-related issues?
We want to be a party that bases ourselves on one thing and one thing only, and that is in putting the interests of this country and this country's people first. And so, you know, this situation can vary. I mean, pre-97, let's be honest, immigration wasn't a big issue, because the numbers coming into Britain every year were relatively small. It's since the open door, it's since Europe's changed and moved to the east that it's become a real issue.
The last time I saw you, it was because UKIP had invited Geert Wilders, the Dutch right-wing politician, to give a speech at the House of Lords in the UK. Do you think that by doing things like that, you're inciting racial hatred?
I personally don't support the Wilders agenda. I mean, I don't think that you can, on the one hand, call for free speech, but on the other, say the Quran should be banned. I mean, I don't think that actually adds up politically. But what Wilders has done in the Netherlands is he has started a major national debate. There's a feeling that the liberal classes just opened the doors, that a blind eye was turned to extremism, and it's possible that Wilders could be the Prime Minister in just a few weeks' time. So you know, he is a very serious figure. Getting into the United Kingdom helped to spark a debate. We're not interested in sparking disturbances. We don't want a more divided society. We want a more united society, and that's why what we have been saying for some years is that to pursue multiculturalism has been a massive mistake, because what it's done, it's actually encouraged groups to live in British cities in enclaves themselves, and they haven't even been encouraged to learn the language. And we're saying, look, we're all in this together, regardless of where we come from. We have got to have a common culture, or the future